Welcome back to Steve Rob Reviews. Today's review is going to be all about pine sol. Now I bet you've never seen a video like this in your life, and I bet you never will see another one like this in your life again. We're going to go over the bench. We're going to talk about pine sol and a little bit of an invention kind of hack that I'm thinking about going through my brain here. And let's see if this sounds interesting to you too. Let's go over to the bench. Okay, so let's get started. We got the original pine sol, and we have this one here, Mandarin Sunrise. Okay, before we get started, this smells just like pine cones kind of thing. Very nice smell, and I like it. This one here is a little bit different, and well, I think for you ladies out there, you could probably take out your empty Chanel No. 5 bottles and put this in. It's so nice. Okay, and I really don't do that, but I mean, it's a really nice smell to it. So I'll just put down here, take a look at this picture with all the different pine sols there are. Okay, so that's a big variety of pine sols with all the different scents and everything. So what do we got going on here today? Well, I just got some old screen here. I just turned into a bunch of discs. I'll show you what that's for. And I got some mason jars from the dollar store, $3.50. And these sponges here, and what's the prices on these? $1.25. So now I seen a video. A friend of mine, Craig, he made a video, and he's got an off-grid cabin like I do, and he had put a whole bunch of, in every room, he put a jar, and he punched some holes in the top of an old, like, spaghetti jars, and he put some pine sol, the original, in the bottom. And then from one year to the next, when you walk inside the cabin, it smells just like pine needles and that kind of stuff. And he said he noticed that there is no sign of mice or anything around. Well, I'll tell you, I did some Googling about this pine sol. Man, they have a lot of stuff of what this does, what it doesn't do, where you should use it, where you shouldn't use it, and everything else. So it's up to you to do your own investigations. But I decided to try this hack here, somewhat similar to what Craig did, but a little bit different using the sponges. So I'm going to put one of these in my cabin and one in each outhouse. And this is going to be a one of them videos I'm going to say is a time warp video. So if we just take a look at my cell phone, and you take a look at, well, I'll get a little bit closer there, and you could see it's Monday, September the 2nd, right? And this is 2024, and I'm not going to release this video until I've tested this all out. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing here first. And then in about, well, a matter of seconds, I'm going to take you up to the cabin and show you them inside the cabin and in the outhouses and what's my idea of it. Now what I'm going to do is this is just going to be like a scented fragrance, you know, for the two outhouses and inside my cabin. And it's going to be over a long period of time. So you're probably not going to see this video until, well, let's go 2026, right? So this is what I'm going to do. And like I said, if this doesn't suit your fancy, well, then, you know, don't do it, right? I mean, I'm not telling people to do anything. This is what I'm going to do. So we'll take the 3 jars out like this. And take the lid off. Okay, you're probably wondering like what's going on, right? Okay, so I made these little things so they fit inside the jar. If you take a look here, they fit inside the jar, like inside the lid. See that? Now the whole idea behind this is, guess what? All the fumes get to come up, and you can smell either this scent here or this pine sol Mandarin Surprise, the Chanel No. 5 substitute. And it'll come up through here. Now what are the sponges for? Okay, let me get to the sponges now. Now this is something I thought of. Okay, you put the sponge in there. Does that make sense to you? Put the sponge in each one. And then I'll put the liquid in. Then take a top like this. Now is that not ingenious or what? And I'm going to get the smell of either this one here or this one here. And so I figure I'm going to put about this much in, say about an inch. And it'll wick up here and come out the top, right? Okay, so that's the whole idea behind this. But I'm not going to put the liquid in today. So, but what I can do is I'll just put the sponges in here, which is kind of easy to do. And it kind of makes them look nice, don't you think? Like the color. Now there's one thing that I'm going to do that's going to be separate from the rest, is these two here, say two of them will go in the outhouse, but one, take for instance this one here, I don't know, it doesn't really matter, I'll just pick one of them. So here you got the 3 jars. Now, what if I go into the cabin and it kind of smells too much, like it's too overpowering? So what do? You take it outside, you know, what do? So I'm figuring, okay, so that's not sitting on their lid. I have to put this concave. There, like this. So now I can just put the lid on like this and have no more smell. Now I will show you where I'm going to put one of these in my cabin. I have ventilation in my cabin already. I got 3 solar fans running right here, and it will blow this scent inside the whole cabin. How much? I don't know. I don't know how powerful this is. You know, you just can't get like, you know, smells kind of, you know, explained very well on YouTube. But you can see how this is going to work and how the lid will go on just like this. And I'm gonna put it in about a week or so. When I go back up, I'm going to fill it up to about here, let it wick up. Now, if it wicks the whole thing right up, I'll just fill it back up to here. So I'll end up after, and of course, now I can always just put more in from the top. I don't have to disturb the lid or do anything. I can always put more in the top here, and that'll work out fantastic for me. So right now, well, the video is going to be over for this year, but in about 5 seconds, we're going to be up at the camp. It's going to be 2026, and we're going to see the results of using the pine sol in these containers, just these mason jars. And the whole thing all together, this experiment, is not costing me a lot. So I'll show you how much I paid for this. And it's not a lot of money, right? And, you know, it's very reasonable. And this is 1.41 liters. And this one here you can get at the dollar store. And they're $8.28. And they're $3 each for any type of fragrance that you like. So let's go up to Northern Ontario. And let's find out how this worked out over all this time from today till 2026. And we're back to the future. So here's the jar right here. And I can take the lid off. There it is right there. And put it back right there. So let's go out to the outhouses, and I want to show you something special. Okay, so here's the first outhouse. And there it is, if you could see, sitting in the corner there. And it smells like a pine forest. So let's go over to the other outhouse. And there it is, sitting in the corner there. And then I want to show you something special. I'm going to talk about how much I put in, the purpose of the sponge, and how long does it last. Okay, so here's my little control center that I have in the back of my cabin with my power inverter and all my controls and everything. And I left this here from last year. and that's one of them strips for catching the bugs. And I used to hang one on the ceiling here, and you can see there's a hook here and there's a hook right there, but I didn't have to. I just thought I'd leave that one there and see how many bugs go on there. But I tell you, this jar, I just got like a tomato sauce jar, and again I put the screen in like this, and I tell you, like, it does, you know, smell pretty strong in here, you know, from that. And I will tell you something, when I used to open these doors in the fall, the cluster flies, a lot of you, you know, that are know what cluster flies are, the flies that just try to find a place to sleep over the winter time. I would open up the door in the fall and just a swarm of flies come flying out. Well, guess what? They don't like this smell, whatever's in there, right? So it's amazing how, you know, the pine sol actually does work. Okay, so I don't know if it deters mice or not because I don't have mice in here, but it does not react well with bugs. And I'll tell you something, the bugs and the flies don't like the smell of this. So what I do is, when I come into my camp, I put the lid on. I mean, if it bugs the bugs that bad, well, I don't want it bugging me, right? So I put the lid on, but when you first come in here, it smells so nice and fresh. So the whole idea of the sponge, well, I was kind of worried it would freeze. And like, it gets down to -40 up here, so I was worried that it was going to freeze. If I put the sponge in, I'm thinking it would kind of wick up to the top better and smell more. Well, I think it doesn't really do much, but I think it prevents it from freezing. Now, not freezing completely, because this will freeze. And I just finished topping them up, and in 1 year I used that 1.4 liter jug. So if I say put half this container full, when I come up, well, it's almost empty, because I got these 3 ventilation fans here, and them 3 fans are blowing across it, and I guess it's wicking it out a lot more. The rest, well, I put about 3 inches in, and when I come up here, there's about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch left. So you have to top them up, and it's so easy for mine. I just top them up through the top of the screen, and that's it. It doesn't take no time at all. So I like the smell. I just don't want to be in here constantly with the lid open with that smell, because if it deters the mice and the bugs that much, well, yeah, I think you're probably better off not to be around with that constantly smelling like that inside your cabin. So thanks for joining me here today. Come back again. If you haven't seen this channel before, you're welcome to subscribe and see some more interesting things that I review every week. Cheers.